All right, guys, so today I was browsing around on the TikTok shop and I went through and I found 5 random tools that we were gonna test from the TikTok shop, see if they're any good. First one is actually kind of cool. I didn't know these were a thing. Is a rechargeable electronic soldering iron by Fantic. I don't know why I opened that box. There's nothing in there, I already took everything out. So what we have here is our soldering iron that goes from 390 degrees up to 840 degrees. You have different tips. You have a sponge that I assume goes right there, maybe for like drips or whatever. Comes with a bunch of different tips. I actually was using this tip just to make sure it worked, but for what we're doing, I think I'm gonna need this little pointy one, perhaps. I have not soldered anything in 20 years. I'm not gonna be the best representation of how good this thing is, but we're gonna give it a shot, you know? And I also have no idea what temperature to do. The last soldering iron I used many years ago was one, I've used 2 different types. One that I think you just plug it in and that's it. It's just either on or it's off. Don't know what temperature that was. And then I think I used one that was like butane, and that was kind of the same thing. It's just on or off. So let's just go in the middle at 660 degrees. Gotta turn it on first. We'll go 660. Let that warm up. And then what we're gonna be soldering is I bought a digital clock do-it-yourself solder kit thing. And my plan was to solder the entire thing and see if it works. But I opened this box and it's a little bit more involved than I thought. And I don't know if I'm gonna have the patience to actually do it. But we're gonna give it a try. So we have our circuit board. So we can see where we're supposed to put some stuff. There was instructions somewhere. The pictures for the instructions are not that great. That's why I don't know if I'm gonna be able to complete this project, but I will at least solder some things. Okay, so the first thing we're supposed to do is to solder 2 resistors on R1 and PP. So, and it says they are non-polarized, so I believe that's this. They're both 10K resistors. They're not polarized, so it shouldn't matter which one goes where. So I'm going to assume we're supposed to push them through. I think I need to bend this like that, maybe. It shows these things like really in there. I guess like that. Okay. I think there's probably a 0% chance that this thing is gonna work by the time I get done with it. That seems simple enough. Now this kit does come with solder. We're just gonna hope that the solder it comes with is good, because I don't have any anymore. I kind of think of soldering just kind of like TIG welding for electronics. I think you just kind of treat it the same way. These solder joints are not pretty. I feel like I'm melting. Maybe I do need a different tip. I think this really pointy tip might not be, this might not be the right thing. I'll try again though. Oh, you know what? That might not be that bad. Although the solder did leak all the way through the hole. Don't think that's supposed to happen, but maybe it just means it's secure. You know what I'll do? I'll do one side with the pointy tip and then the other side with the other tip, and we'll compare. I don't think that's that bad. Now, in a perfect world, you would let this cool before you switch out the tips, but we don't live in a perfect world. I do think that my temperature choice of 660, I do think that's a pretty good temperature. I do actually think now that looking at it, this tip might be a little bit too big for what we're trying to do. I think my second joint is actually pretty good, if I say so myself. Oh, that actually went really good. You know what? Maybe this wider one is better. I am noticing that the solder is collecting on the tip, which wasn't happening with the other one. So I'm not sure what that's about. Maybe that's what the sponge is for. Wipe it off. I think there's also supposed to be like flux at play here at some point, but I don't have any of that. I think that'll be fine. So you should be able to get a good look. These are the first two I did, and these are the second two. They don't look that bad. And the backs of them, I'm satisfied with that, especially for not soldering for so long. Okay, so before we go any farther, today's video is sponsored by Hungryroot. So what is Hungryroot? Hungryroot is an online grocery delivery service that makes it easy to eat healthy. Here's how it works. It's very simple. You take a little quiz, you tell them a little bit about yourself, you tell them, your dietary needs, any goals you want to accomplish, anything like that. They take all that information and then they will send you a weekly box with 10-minute recipes. Now, one of my favorite things about Hungryroot is not only does it save you so much time because now you don't have to go to the grocery store, it just gets shipped straight to your door, but you get to edit your deliveries so you can pick what you want so you only get exactly what you want. Another thing I like Hungryroot is if you're like me and you tend to be a creature of habit, using Hungryroot can help you discover new foods. They also cater to a wide variety of dietary needs. And then not only that, they help you save time, money, and reduce food waste. And then on top of all of that, something else that sets them apart is they send you full-sized groceries. Let's see what we can make for dinner. Let's see what we got in here. Okay, we got a tamale, basil pesto, chicken Alfredo. We have some flatbread. Love to see that. We might do something with that. We got some burger, it looks like. Some bacon, some shrimp, Korean barbecue, beef jerky. We got some chicken, and this is fully cooked. This is just sous vide. Maybe we'll put that on top of the flatbread. Do we have cheese? We can do something with that. We have mozzarella cheese, okay. That's what we'll make for dinner. We'll just put some chicken on some flatbread and some mozzarella cheese, melt it all down. That'll be delicious. Okay, maybe let's try some of these things. Jam snack. I think I might have had this before. It was like some type of crackers and jam, maybe. That's good. Really good. What else we got? Chocolate chip cookies. I'm gonna eat that entire bag. We got some pretzels. Let's just try everything, huh? Oh, these are the good pretzels too, the big ones. Also dangerous. I could eat that entire bag. All right, let's go make dinner. All right, so here we have our, I don't even know what you'd call it, chicken flatbread things. Let's give this a try. I love that crunch. That is an A+. So if you're interested in trying Hungry Root for yourself, you can get 40% off your first box, plus you get a free item of your choice in every box for life. Just go to hungryroot.com, use code TUBE at checkout. All the links will be in the description, or you can scan the QR code on the screen. All right, so I soldered the whole thing together, and you can see that it does work. You see it's 3:57 in the morning. I forgot to take a video of the other side of it where the soldering took place because I kind of got in the zone and forgot that you have to solder this board to, I don't know, whatever you'd call this, the LED part or whatever, so you can't see the solder joints. Now that it's done, everything works. I think I did pretty good for not soldering in so long. This thing works fine, except for, I will say, there is some type of weird problem, which I might try to see if it does it right now on camera, which I'm sure it'll make a liar out of me. But about halfway through soldering this soldering iron kept turning off. It turned off one time, and then I couldn't get it turned back on. And whenever I would hold the button, it would turn on for like a split second, and then it would blink and turn off. So I assumed the battery was dead. So I plugged it in, let it charge for maybe like 2 hours. Still the same thing. I had to break into the owner's manual and look around, and apparently where you can take these tips off, it has a sensor in here to detect whether or not one of the tips is in there. So I was using the really pointy tip because I figured out that one worked better for me, and something about this tip just like stopped being detected for whatever reason. Like I took it in and out probably 10 different times, and I could not get it to heat back up with this specific tip. So I had to use another one. And then even on the other one, I think it did it once or twice, and I was able to take the tip out and put it back in, and then it worked for a little bit longer. I was assuming that there was a problem with this, but it doesn't really make sense because, you know, the tips are the same. So why would it detect one and not the other? I was also thinking, because I just left this thing on, so I was thinking maybe that becomes a problem after it stays hot for too long or something. So we'll put this tip in. See if it turns on. Okay, yeah. It's gonna make a liar out of me, as you would expect. There's no way it's already that hot. Oh no, it's heating up. Okay, so I guess now it works. Anyway, I think there's some issue with this thing detecting whether or not there's a tip in there after it stays hot for long enough. But I'm not entirely sure what goes on there. But other than that, I actually like it. I like the fact that it's battery powered, heats up fast, rechargeable. I like the little stand. It was very nice to have a little stand so I could, you know, do something and then, you know, put it back and just let it sit there. And then there's another thing that I noticed, which was it has a, I think, 15-second timer. So that way if it's on and then you put it in here for 15 seconds and you don't touch it, it goes into a sleep mode, and then whenever you pick it back up, it turns back on. I couldn't see in the manual what sleep mode actually means, if that meant that it turns it all the way off and then it will just turn back on when you pick it up, or if it just, like, you know, maybe cuts the temperature in half while it waits for you to pick it back up or whatever. I couldn't really find any exact details on that, but overall, I like it. All right, our next tool, a lawnmower blade sharpener. It says, sharpen with ease, mow with precision. So let's see what we got here. Okay. This actually doesn't look half bad. Looks like we have some type of balancing device, because that's always important. And then a thing. And then we have nothing to, wait a minute. What are you supposed to sharpen it with? There's no, like, sharpening stone? Okay, so this is supposed to bolt down to, like, the table or something. Wait a minute. I've been bamboozled. You're supposed to use an angle grinder that mounts into this thing. I thought this was like a knife sharpener type situation, but with a lawnmower blade. Okay, so I need to mount that. Let's just use this for now. You know what, that's pretty sturdy. I think we only need Need one for now. So then this, I guess, is supposed to go into here. This goes into the screw hole or on your angle grinder. And then your blade. It's supposed to go in here somehow, I think. Okay. I think I'm getting it. Okay. I feel like I'm doing something wrong. Oh, they show this thing like this. That would make more sense. Let me get a grinder. All right, so we got our grinder. So we should just be able to take this off. I think this whole thing is backwards, actually. So this is you're supposed to face it like this. That actually makes more sense. And I guess we just take this, screw it into our handle hole, and now we have a guide so that we can grind. Okay. That's cool, I guess. Although we're gonna have to do that outside because I'm not gonna throw sparks and rust all over the place in here. So we'll take that contraption outside. All right, so you can see we got this thing reset up outside. And we should be able to take our grinder, slide it in here. Then we have this as our guide to grind up our blade, which I think, actually I think we need to maybe change our angle just a little bit. It's a little bit flimsy because it's, obviously mounted onto a very sketchy thing. All right, so let's see what we can do. Okay, so you can see we did pretty good right there. That's right on. This angle is a little bit different though, so I guess we might need to kind of change our angle just a little bit for that one. I mean, hey, that's easy. Yeah, do that to both sides. You got a sharp blade, okay? That's not bad. Okay, so I don't really feel the need to really do that much with this. The lawnmower this is off of doesn't even work anymore. But, we got a good edge. It was easy. I don't really have any complaints about it. The only thing that comes to mind is I just don't really think it's that necessary. Like, I know everyone's gonna have different opinions on this, but lawnmower blades, they'll cut just about any way. Like they can be like so dull and they'll still cut. So the angle that your lawnmower blade is sharpened at is really not that important, I don't think. Maybe if you're like, manicuring a professional lawn, and I know if you cut grass with a dull blade, if you cut it with a dull blade, I think it makes it easier for like diseases to get into the grass or whatever. So if you're someone that really cares about your lawn, like a lot, then sure, I could understand that. You want to sharpen it at a specific angle. You want the blade to be, razor sharp every time. I could see where this would fit in. But for your average person, someone like me who does not care, the grass is an annoyance, and I just cut it just simply because it keeps growing, and that's it. I don't think you really need anything like this. I think you could just put it in a vise and really get the same effect. So with all that being said, it does work great. It works as advertised, does exactly what it's supposed to do. I actually really like the idea that it just uses your existing grinder. But like I said, for somebody like me, I don't think it's necessary. All right, so this is our next product. This is a portable tire inflator by the same company as the soldering iron, Fantic. It's kind of like a bicycle lock. You just pull out the hose to inflate. There you have your screen. So I have aired this tire down to just a little bit more than 10 PSI. And then we're going to put it back up to 35 where it belongs. We're gonna see how long it takes. And then we're gonna compare it to a Milwaukee tire inflator and just see what the difference is. Okay, so according to this, we are at 12 PSI. I don't know how well you can see that. So we're at 12. We're gonna set it up to 35. Now usually these small tire inflators take forever. So I'll be impressed if this one can do it pretty quick. This is gonna take a long time. We're not even up 1 PSI. Okay, so I don't know the exact time, but based on the time on the camera, give or take 15 minutes. So, wow, I think it's hot too. Took 15 minutes to get to 35 PSI, and it took half of the battery to get there. I don't know that that's good or not based on the size of this thing. I mean, it's nice that it was able to fill it back up, but you know, if you were on the side of the road, would you want to wait 15 minutes to get air in your tire? I guess that's up to you. But it does have a nice small package, and it did do the job. I'm gonna let the air back out of this tire, and then let's try a Milwaukee tire inflator and just compare the difference. All right, now we're back down to 10 PSI, give or take. I'm gonna take a guess and just say that this takes probably maybe like 2 minutes. Oh, actually, we're pretty much at the exact same level. We're at 12.5 PSI instead of 12. 35 PSI? Oh, that was stupid. I forgot how to work this thing. Okay. I don't know what that was about. There we are back at 35. I feel like that was very close to that 2 minute mark, if not faster. So, I guess that's the difference. All right, this is gonna be a little bit messy, but the next product is this. Sunshimao portable welder. And it's a stick welder, obviously. And I assume you just put the stick in here, hold the trigger, and you weld. Before any professional welders come for me in the comments, I want everybody to know I've done a ton of MIG, a good amount of TIG, never stick. So let's just get that out there right now. This will be my first time ever doing stick welding. So it comes with a little shield in the kit, comes with gloves, comes with some electrodes. I don't know the thickness of this. I think this is maybe 3/8. I also realized that I probably should have got some actual like good quality sticks, because I'm sure the ones that it comes with are probably garbage. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. We're gonna be powering it with the EcoFlow. Honestly, if I can just get a bead across this thing, I'll be happy. I'll be completely content with that. We'll put our ground clamp right there, stick our electrode in. All right. I have no idea what I should be welding this metal on. We can go from 20 amps to 120 amps. So I'm just gonna go in the middle and say 70. I hope this doesn't get too splattery. All right, let's just see what happens, I guess. Okay. I should have known that was gonna happen. Maybe we'll turn it up a little bit. Let's max it out at 120. Okay, 120 shuts off. Let's go 100. Oh, I mean, that's about as bad as you would expect for your first time ever stick welding. It's a little bit weird. I don't think it's hot enough because the weld just keeps pulling up on the top and it's not penetrating down in there. I wonder if maybe we can crank it up just a little bit. I'll do like a bead just like over here on the side. Come on. I don't understand what's going on here. Maybe I need a new stick. Maybe in the hands of a professional, this wouldn't be that bad, but I am not a professional. Come on, it's kind of tough to get like get a bead going. Ah, there we go. Yeah, that's kind of interesting. I don't think that it is putting out as much power as it says it is. Now, like I said, obviously I'm no expert, but I feel like it's not putting out as much power because there's just no penetration. I know with a MIG, if you have it turned up real high, you'll really penetrate, and if the metal's thin enough, you'll even blow through the metal. But I don't see that here at all. It seems like it just really you get a puddle going and then just kind of piles up on top of itself. It could be a technique thing, just obviously where I've never done it before. I don't think I would ever use this to do any type of real work. I imagine that these two pieces of metal are, they're stuck together a little bit, but probably not any more than like some glue could do or whatever. If we flip it over, oh, that's a 1/4 inch. So obviously no penetration made it through the weld. I don't know. I don't think this thing is that great. I do think in the hands of a professional, it could be better, but I don't think this thing's putting out anywhere near 100 or 120 amps for sure. All right, our next product. We are just all over the place today, so I hope you enjoyed the little field trip. The NP50 air nail puller. We have 3 nails in a board, and then you hook this up to the air compressor, and it's supposed to, I believe, you put it on here, and it's supposed to blow out the nails. We'll see if it works. In my typical fashion, I did not take into consideration the size of my air compressor, which is very small. So I don't know if it's gonna have enough oomph to operate this thing, but we'll see. So got our nails. Okay, that just blew that nail like 10 feet away. Let me see how far away that was. Honestly, I don't know. Let's rearrange. All right, let's do it this way. This way. Oh wow, you guys are crooked. This way it'll hit that whenever it blows out, because that was a lot more power than I was expecting. All right. Okay. That's actually kind of dangerous. That hit that and came back and hit me. I still don't know where that went. It hit me in the foot though. Maybe let's aim like more downward. Okay. There we have our nail. Hopefully you can see. It really dented the tip of that nail. That was a very, very successful test. That was not what I expected. What I expected was that, this long nail would be inside the 2x4, and then instead of it being sunk into the 2x4, maybe it would blow it out to be like, I don't know, maybe here or here, and then you could take a hammer and pull it out. I didn't realize it was just gonna blow it clean out and then launch it like 10 to 15 feet away. That was actually very impressive. All right, our next product is this. A test-long, see the solution, articulating borescope. So, I think I might have done a video with one of these before. not one as cool as this. This one has a very unique feature that I'm excited about. It's actually a much bigger screen than I thought. So this one, not only does it look much nicer than the other one that I had, it's got the end moves. So you can stick it in somewhere, and then you can look around and see what you're looking at. Something that surprised me is that the camera, the part that moves, is I just assumed that it was going to be like an electronic motor, and you'd move it and then it would kind of electronically just like move around. But no, it's just like a cable that moves it back and forth, which is pretty cool. So let's turn this bad boy on. See what we're working with. Okay, you can kind of see yourself there. You can go all the way back to see me. I saw there should be a way, maybe this. Oh yeah, you can flip it around so you can get all the different angles. Then you can rotate this. So yeah, this thing's really cool. We are going to go stick it inside of a spark plug hole and see what we can see, because I feel like that's a normal use that you would use something like this for. So we're gonna go look inside of an engine and see what we can see. All right, so the engine that we're gonna be using is a pressure washer. Oh wow. So there's our camera. Let's just go ahead and stick it inside our spark plug hole. Hopefully you can, I'm also recording, this thing records also, so hopefully that video kind of comes out all right. I think we need to do a little rotation. Get that piston at the bottom so that we can actually see something. Now we can really see in there. And we can kind of root around, see what we can. Wow, this engine is so clean. You can see there looks to be some type of like oil or something on there. There's an arrow. You can also, if you kind of go up, you can still see the crosshatch on the cylinder wall. And I think that's rust right there, a little bit or something. Some type of corrosion. But you can see the inside of that piston, or the inside of on that cylinder wall. This thing is basically brand new. That part right there, I think it's just discolored a little bit. But anyway, that's so cool that you can see the inside of the engine. I wish you could go from side to side. I keep trying to move the screen to think I'm gonna get a different look. Well, there's something going on there. Oil or something on that piston. That's interesting. I don't know what that is, actually. I'm gonna take a deeper look at that at a different time. So yeah, that's our borescope camera. Our last tool, or it's kind of a tool, is this. A tap and die set. Let's see what we got in here. Hopefully taps and dies. So, obviously I've already looked inside of this kit. What's very ironic is that we have all these options, right? But none of these are the same thread pitch as the bolts that I have. So I can't even properly test it. So I don't know if this is, I accidentally got some type of like weird specialty kit or what. But like, it just says tap and die set 116 piece. Manufacturer Shanghai Muxi Mai Yo Wing Yi Chong Gi Si. Whatever that means. I don't know. I just assumed that a set this big would have, you know, most of anything, any average like bolt that you would have, but it doesn't. So we're just gonna have to tap out a random hole and we'll just assume that it works. Obviously you get the dies, the taps, the little handles. That little thing falls out all the time. You get all the little handles to hold it with. You get a punch for whenever you go to drill your pilot hole. I'm not really sure what that is. Oh, maybe to hold the tap. Anyway, pretty basic kit. So, I drilled a hole for this 7/16 by 14 tap. So, that's the one that we'll use. And then I ended up just drilling a hole inside of that metal that we welded. We'll just use that. In a perfect world, you would have some type of oil, but I don't have any. So we're just gonna go ahead, cut us some threads. So I have done this before, unfortunately for me. You always kind of want to drop everything. That's what you want to do. That really gets it in there, you know? Really makes it work real good. Anyway, as I was saying, you always want to start it, run it in a little bit, and then back it off, and then run it in and back it off. I think I'm going in crooked. And I am. So that's pretty cool for me. I love that. You can see all these little chips that are falling out. That's why you go in and then back up. It's actually working pretty good. This is working about as good as any tap I've ever used before. Okay, we are through the bottom. Oh yeah. There we go. Look at that. Just like a bolt. That actually did really good. I know you guys can't see it, but I wish I had a bolt this size to run through here. Look at that. Finger tight. Right in. Right through the bottom. Okay, so tap and die set from the TikTok shop. That's a pretty good tool. If you have the right bolts, or if it has the right taps that you need, I think it'd do pretty good. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.